Welcome this morning to another in our series on co-parenting. This is Pato Arif, your host. I'm the men's program manager for the See My Baby Support Men. Today we are in the fifth of our series on co-parenting. We're talking this morning about navigating the challenges and changes. The only constant in life is change. Co-parent co-parenting striving when we adapt to those challenges together. So both parents have to come to a working relationship for the best interest of your child if you're going to have success in this share of co-parenting. And so if you're joining us for the first time, I'm inviting you. We are now in the fifth lesson in our series. And if you miss lesson 1, 2, and 3, and 4, I'm kindly asking you to subscribe to our channel and to like us on Facebook and Instagram, that you can have more informative information regarding co-parenting. And so today, I just invite you to go with me as we look at today's objectives. Today's objectives, that by the end of this session, parents will understand how to handle new partners and the impact on co-parenting. So this is very important for if you're a father enter into co-parenting for the first time. It is important to understand these objectives. So there are 4 objectives that we want to cover today. Understanding how to handle new partners and the impact on co-parenting. Learning how to manage long-distance co-parenting and maintaining a strong relationship with the child. Exploring the importance of revisiting and revising co-parenting agreements as circumstances evolve or change. Discuss real-life scenarios to practice adapting to unexpected changes, because it do happen when you are in the co-parenting space. You do find these things happen. Now, this session aims to help parents navigate, particular men, life's challenges are changes in co-parenting situation, from new relationships to distance and in evolving circumstances. These changes are challenges require flexibility, open communication, and revisiting agreements to keep the focus on the child's best interest. So in co-parenting, the object of your relationship should always be the child or the children that is involved, because when you have a broken relationship and have to, deal with all of the things that comes with that, sometimes there are emotions, there are things that have not yet settled, but you have to make sure that the child is the focus, right? And so today, as we look a little deeper in co-parenting, we want to focus on these very important matters that do impede and impact your relationship if you don't understand them. So dealing with new partners and blended families is critical. It is crucial, right? Changes when new partners enter the picture. So it is always difficult for the child. It's always difficult for both parents also, right? Adjusting to new dynamics. When one parent starts a new relationship, it can create tension and feelings of competition, jealousy, or even fear of being replaced. Now, these are things you have to discuss and you have to understand. If you're going to be, as a partners, working together for the best interest of your children or your child. Now, children's emotions. Children might feel threatened by the presence of a new partner, especially if they are unsure of their place in the family. So parents have to be sensitive and be aware of these things, right? They may fear that their parents' love for them will diminish, or that the new partner will disrupt family routine. So you have to protect your safe space for your child to make sure that they are comfortable, that they are at ease, right? And thirdly, co-parenting boundaries. One of the most common issues that arise in how involved the new partner will be in parenting decisions. It's essential to set clear guidelines for their role and the place that they play within that relationship, right? So stepping into the biological parent role prematurely can impact your child and impact the relationship of the co-parent. And so why we're sharing these things, dealing with new partners and blended families. So for men, it is essentially, and it is difficult for men sometimes when you have broken relationship and then your partner enter into a new relationship and you know your children or your child is involved in that. Sometimes it can become uneasy, right? It is natural for both parents and children to feel uncertain and resistance when a new partner enters the family dynamic. The key to handling this challenge is ensuring that the child's emotional needs are prioritized while also setting boundaries that both parents agree on, right? Transparency and respect for one another's role as parents are essential for a smoother transition. So if you want a smoother transition as you move from one relationship to another, it is important to communicate and share put effective guidelines in place. So the next important thing we want to focus on the role of co-parenting, we're talking about navigating the challenges and changes within the co-parenting space. Building a positive blended family is important. And so there are at least 3 critical things that we want to focus on in this era. Now, role of the new partner. The new partner's role should be clearly defined, acknowledging that they may not have the same parental authority as the biological parent. Their role is more about providing support and being a trusted adult figure rather than making decisions for the child. And so once this is clear, when you're building a positive blended family, this will remove the fear, the anxiety that you will face and can impact your child or impact the relationship in terms of the co-parent. Now, creating unity is important. It is essential for both biological parent and the new partner to work together. Why? For the best interest of a child. Forming a team that communicates openly and cooperate in raising the child or children should witness this unity to feel secure and stable. It is important that the children should witness this unity among the parents, that we are pulling together for your best interest. And that will not allow a child to become anxious. Sometimes our children in situations like these, sometimes they fall back in school in their, because they're impacted emotionally, right? Particularly when they have to move from one state to another and things like those. The second important thing that we want to pay attention to is respecting existing family tradition. Don't just abruptly change things when you build in a positive blended family. You can't just, because the ideal family is really the nuclear family, right? And so these circumstances that exist is a matter of, because sometimes there were not willingness to compromise and to work out situations that they are broken relationship. But if we can respect the traditions that was in existence, while the introduction of a new partner may require adjustment, it's important to respect existing family tradition and routines while also introducing new ways to bonding as a blended family. And so family struggles when they have to come together. This partner has his children, bringing his children into a new relationship, or both men and women have this struggle, right? And the third important thing that I think it's necessary to understand in building a positive blended family, it is that patience is important and understanding. Blended families take time to adjust. Parents should be patient with one another and with the children, allowing everyone to adjust at their own pace. So you can't rush it. It cannot be rushed. And so oftentimes we see just trying to build a family and getting cohesiveness and working together, we're forcing and pushing, and it can cause problems and anxiety for your child emotionally and mentally, right? And so we're talking about co-parenting, navigating the challenges and changes, right? Blended families require a lot of patience and understanding. It's important to allow children to feel comfortable with new relationship at their own pace, while also respecting the existing family structure. The more both parents and the new partners communicate and respect one another's role, the smoother the transition will be. And so, why are we sharing these things? We know it is extremely difficult for men when you have to um, have other persons, another man enters the relationship with your ex, and have to be dealing with your children. But for the children's sake and for the child's best interest, it's good for you to sit down, have dialogue, and work out how are we going to best uh, work through these situations. Dealing with these challenges are very important. And so let's look at three other important aspects in terms of navigating the challenges uh, of co-parenting, right? Um, Regular communication is important. The key to a strong long-distance co-parenting relationship is consistent and meaningful communication, right? So there has to be a consistent communication. Regular video calls, phone calls, and texts allow the parent to stay involved in the child's life, and that is important for men. The men who I've spoken with and I've counseled and talked with, this is one of their greatest concern. How is their child not being in their presence and in their home, right? Then second thing, this is important, keeping routines consistent, right? Establishing routines that both parents agree on is essential, right? Even from a distance, this consistency helps the child feel secure, knowing what to expect, even when the parents are not together. And so, what are we striving to achieve here? We're trying to make sure that the child is the focus, right? We want to able to overcome and navigate the challenges and the changing circumstances in a way that is positive and healthy, right? So the third important things in dealing with these challenges is making visit a priority. So oftentimes we find that fathers complain, and sometimes mothers do, depends on who have custody of the child, right? When possible, long distance parents should prioritize visit to ensure that the child feels loved and that the relationship remains strong, right? Even if visits are infrequent, they should be meaningful and memorable. And so I can't emphasize this more. We must take and make priority as co-parent that the child is able to see either the mother or the father, depends on the arrangement of the situation, right? So another important aspect that we want to look at in terms of navigating challenges and changes is revisiting and revising our arrangements, right? So when you started the co-parenting relationship, there was a structured plan. We dealt with that last week in our lesson, making a co-parenting plan and how to work the co-parenting plan. So let's look at least three vital important things to in terms of revisiting and revising your arrangement, right? While it is important to revisit your plan, right? Life changes, and so do the needs of both parents and children. Regular revisiting your co-parenting agreement ensure that it remains relevant and in line with the child's uh, growing needs, right? As the child evolves, the growing needs of a child. And so let's focus on these three main areas. Life events, major life events such as parents' new job, a child's school changes, or even a new relationship can disrupt an existing plan. It's important to address these shifts before they lead to conflict. Because if they are not addressed properly, they can lead to conflict within the relationship. And we dealt with in one of our series how to manage conflicts, right? And so if you didn't see that, I invite you to go back to our other sessions to look at that aspect. Now, the second important aspect of this revisiting and revising your agreement is avoid and the child's development rather. The child's development. As children grow, their needs change. A plan that worked when the child was just 3 may not work when the child is 13, right? The parenting schedule, financial arrangement, and even decision-making process may need to be adjusted. Of course, it would need to be adjusted because what you do when the child is 1 to 3, it's different from when the child is now in their teens. The child will now be involved in extracurricular activities that needs parents' approval and adjustment for the child's involvement. Another vital aspect, the third vital aspect that I want us to pay attention to is avoiding resentment, right? If one parent feels that the arrangement no longer reflects their situation or needs, resentment can build. This is why it is important to regularly check in with each other and revisit the arrangement as needed. So this cannot be overemphasized that as you co-parent and as the child grows, right, so will the needs and situation and circumstances will change and need for you to revisit it, right? You need to have discussion. Revisiting the plan regular isn't just about addressing problems. It's about keeping everything current, right? Very important. Both parents must agree that flexibility is important and that the ultimate goal is the child's well-being, right? Not maintaining rigid structure that no longer serve their best interests. So as a child grows, there are certain things that are not going to be vital, and you have to know how to navigate these things, how to revise a co-parenting plan. So there are at least 3 steps in doing so. And we want to share these 3 steps with you as a father, and even if you're a mother who is having challenges in navigating these circumstances. So these are the 3 very important points that you need to bear in mind, right? First, evaluate the current plan. So what aspect of the plan are working well? That you have to establish that. Where are the pain points? That what causing stress or confusion in the relationship, in this co-parenting relationship, right? And because you're thinking about the best interest of your child, and also as you as parents, you evolve and grow, and you might change job, and you might have to change cities and stuff. All of these have to be bring into consideration. Are both parents' needs being considered as well as the child's? So this is the first step that you have to look at as you revisit your co-parenting plan. The second and very vital, important point is communicate with your co-parent. This cannot be overemphasized. The breakdown oftentimes in co-parenting, and while it is difficult for parents, is that there's not sufficient communication. And we dealt with that in one of our previous lessons, communication, how essential it is to retaining and keeping an effective co-parenting structure, right? And so where do you start? Open, calm discussion should happen around the issues that needs revisiting, avoiding blame or finger pointing, and focus on solution. So solution is what we need. If the plan isn't working anymore, we have to come up with new solution, new ways to make it effective. It is important to acknowledge each other feelings and needs in the conversation, coming from a place of collaboration rather than confrontation. So let's collaborate instead of having confrontation with each other, right? Because when you collaborate, it works best for the children as well as for yourself as co-parent, right? And the third and very important aspect is agreeing on specific revisions, right? So you're revising your co-parenting plan. You have to agree both on what is the specific things that needs to be fixed. You evaluate it, right? You communicate it, and then now make concrete changes to the plan, whether it's adjusting visitation schedule, alternative decision making procedures, or adding new conflict resolution steps. All these have to be evaluated, communicated, and then agreed on the specific things. Ensure that both parents understand the new terms and are willing to commit to them, because it is in the best interest of your child. All right. So what are some of the scenarios that will do happen while you co-parent and you are navigating challenges and changes, right? It is important after a divorce or separation, your co-parent starts dating someone serious. They want to bring their partner to pick up the child for the first time. You are unsure how to handle this situation. So these are things that will happen in a co-parenting relationship, because after you're separated for 1 or 2 years or more, it is going to be natural that that person is going to be entering into a new relationship, right? And so you have to consider these things that will happen. So questions for discussion: how do you feel if your ex introduced a new partner to your child? These are things you have to discuss and walk through while you're these are challenges that you have to navigate, right? Right. So you have to realize that these things will happen. What boundaries would help you feel more secure and respected in this situation, right? How can both parents work together to make this transition as smooth as possible for the child's well-being and for your well-being as well as parents? So we're talking about navigating challenges and changes in co-parenting, and this is very important for all parents, particularly for men who I'm trying to help here. We want all our men who have to deal with this very unique situation, which is becoming more prevalent, because oftentimes when we can't resolve our relationship conflict, it always end in separation. But the children that are involved and the child oftentimes can be impacted. And so having a good plan is important. Revising your plan for change, right? Example of revising the plan. So a mother and a father initially agreed on a 50-50 custody split when their child was younger. As the child gets older and becomes more involved in the extracurricular activities, and parents realize that a new schedule is necessary to accommodate those changes, they meet and discuss options and agree on an update plan that works better for their child's current needs. So these are things that you have to discuss as you revisit your co-parenting plan. Never believe that it will just happen by chance. No, it will bring conflict if decision is not, if you don't evaluate and discuss them and make decision on them, then you will have issues, right? When was the last time you revisit your co-parenting plan? Very important. So if you presently have a co-parent plan that has been going for the last 5 or 10 years, now the child has grown, you need to, at this point, revisit. Have you noticed any error in your current plan that needs revision to accommodate a new life circumstances? So these are factors that you have to bear in mind. And so as we come to a conclusion this morning, right? What are some of the things that I want for you to take away from navigating challenges and changes in co-parenting? Co-parenting requires constant communication, flexibility, and the ability to adapt to changes. There's no way you can't get away from this. Whether it is introducing a new partner, managing long-distance relationship, or revisiting the plan to fit the need of a child. The goal is always to create an environment that fosters the child's well-being. It can't be emphasized, if your child is not happy, the child is not going to perform well in school. The child is not going to do well, right? Remember, the child we must stay child focused in a co-parenting relationship. Remember that a healthy co-parent relationship is built on respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to the child's future. And so that is why we are emphasizing, because we know that there are a lot of dysfunctional families, a lot of breakdown, and particularly our boys are being impacted immensely, because when boys don't adjust quite easily like girls do in situations like these. And so I want to encourage fathers, if you have boys who you have to be shared custody with a co-parent, you have to be there, right? So final discussion and reflection. What are some of the final things we want to reflect on this morning? As we wrapped up, let's think about these things, right? How can you incorporate the idea from today's session into your co-parenting relationship? What specific changes our conversation needs to take place to improve your current arrangement, right? These are things that I want final discussion and takeaway. We want you to take away from this morning's lesson. How can revisiting and adapting your co-parenting plan positively impact your child? So, parents, fathers, I'm encouraging you this morning to not neglect these very important points we are sharing in navigating the challenges and changes in co-parenting. And so thanks for giving me this time in your busy schedule to tune into this lesson on co-parenting. And so we're thankful that you're here. And so next week we'll be on for our final lesson, lesson 6 in the series on co-parenting. If you had missed the first 4 lessons, I invite you to go to our website and to our Facebook page. I ask that you please share, like, and subscribe. We want to reach as many fathers. We want to reach as many persons as possible, because we know that there are a lot of struggling fathers. There are a lot of struggling persons in our society today, and we want to make a difference. So thanks, and enjoy the rest of your week, as we look forward to have you on in another lesson next week. Thank you very much.